Hello and welcome. My name is Maria de Souza. I am a Feldenkrais and a yoga teacher. I focus my work on posture, not only because posture makes you feel good and look good and elegant and boosts your self-confidence, but also because good posture keeps pain away. Something that you might not realize is that most of these ailments and conditions we see around that people suffer with are a result of misalignments and imbalances we create in our body as we go about life. And it's only when you start addressing these misalignments that you can see a shift in your health, mentally and physically. So this is what my work is all about, to bring you exercise and tips to address these misalignments on the body so that you can help your body to go back to its natural state. So this is part 3 of the Feldenkrais exercises for the ankles. Please do part 1 and part 2 and do part 3. You can do them separately, video 1 and video 2, video 3, but it's good that then you put the 3 exercises together because it's one exercise, it's one Feldenkrais lesson. If you want to have it all in one video without much talking, then I did that for you. Click on the link below and you have these exercises, 3 videos in one exercise without much talking. So it's all there for you. This is the 3rd part of this 3 series. This series, and so if you do that individually, one video at a time, then go back to video number 1 to do the somatic awarenesses first, the standing and then lie on the back. Okay, so let's lie on the back. So spend a minute or so here feeling yourself in contact with the floor and just arriving. Okay, and then from here you're going to go back to the exercise of the ankle. So bring your awareness to your right foot, and what we're going to do this tilt or leaning on the foot. Okay, you're going to start with the outer edge of the foot. So you're going to lean on the outer edge of the foot so that you lift the big toe away from the floor and you bring it down. Okay, so you're tilting. So there is no much room in your ankle joint to do this movement sideways. So don't expect a big movement. It is a tiny little movement. More so because you need to keep your knee quiet so the knee doesn't go to the side. So the tendency is to do that. Okay, but if we do we're not moving the ankle, it's just moving from the hip joint. Okay, we don't want that. We want the movement in the ankle. So you tilt this tilt of the ankle, okay, to the outer edge. So you tilt into the right towards the outer edge of your foot. It's only a tiny little movement. Okay, if your knee is moving, you're doing too much and you're not really moving from the ankle joint. Okay, so as you tilt, you'll feel your toes moving a little bit towards the arch of the foot or towards so your toes are kind of doing a C shape. Okay, and you feel it a little bit in your arch of your foot. Okay, so really concentrate in that movement, the tilting towards the outer edge of your ankle. Okay, keep the knee as quiet as possible, keep the leg still. It's just this tiny little movement in the ankle. And as I said before, there isn't much room for you to do this movement. So it's a small movement, it's a tiny little movement. And as you do that, you'll feel that the arch of your foot kind of closes, like so. So if this is the arch of your foot, your toes kind of come together towards the arch of the foot, doing a kind of a C shape. Okay? So I don't want you to see much of what I'm doing, but feel it. It's important you feel the movement in yourself. So it doesn't really matter how am I doing, or unless that you really don't understand what I'm saying, which I'm trying to give you the experience, so that you, just by listening to what I'm saying, you are able to do the movement without having to look at it, because it's not that's why I never do close-up images of what I'm doing, because it's not about what I'm doing, but about what you are doing and feeling. And it's not about are you doing correctly or incorrectly, is this the right way or not the right way. It is about your movement. So from the instructions, the cues I'm sending to you, see if you can do all these movements without watching me very much, okay? Just watch if you really struggle to understand what I'm saying. So here is not a very, easy to explain what I'm doing, because it's a movement that we don't do, okay? So all we do is tilting, is leaning towards the outer edge of the foot, okay? And by doing so, you'll feel that your toes come towards the arch, and that's that movement, that form of the arch comes more into a C shape, okay? As you bring in the toes closer to the arch or closer to the heel. And the movement is only in the ankle, the knees and the hip joint are not involved. Okay, and let go. And just rest the foot. So it's not an easy movement. It's quite a challenging movement, especially if you haven't done it before. Which we don't. This is a movement that we don't do. Unless you have strained your ankle. Okay, so, and then we're going to lean or tilt towards the inside of the foot, okay, the inner edge of the foot. Okay, so we're gonna do the opposite, tilting. And again, the tendency here is to move the knee towards the left. You don't want to do that, because the movement, it must be only in the ankle joint, okay? Again, there isn't much room for you to do this movement, so don't expect a big movement. And maybe you find that there is even less movement to lean towards the inner edge of the foot than the outer edge. Or maybe not. Just notice the differences. Notice how does it feel now to lean. I find it a little bit more difficult to lean towards the inside of my foot. Okay, so it's not an easy movement at all, and it can become quite challenging. I was looking for another word. Frustrating. That's the word I was looking for. It can become quite frustrating to do this movement. but try not to get too frustrated or stress yourself. Just do what you can. And as you can see or feel, it's not a big movement. It can't be a big movement because there isn't much room for the ankle to turn that way, okay? And as you tilt towards the inside of your foot, your little toe needs to lift away from the floor as well, and the outer edge of the floor as much as you can, okay? So make sure that you're not only lifting the toes, but the whole of the outer edge of the foot lifts as much as you can. Do what you can, okay? Do what you can. It's not an easy movement. The big toe stays on the floor because you're leaning on the inner edge of the foot. Okay, and let go. Lengthen your legs and rest for a moment. Okay, let's go back there. And now let's do alternate movement. So once you lean towards the outer edge of the foot, and then once you lean towards the inner edge of the foot. Okay, and go from one to the other. Keep the knee quiet. The leg is quiet. The movement is it's in the ankle. Right, let me tell you what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing here, which is a very typical thing for me, which is that cramp in my arch. In video 2, I told you about this cramp in the arch that I get often. So I'm getting it now again. So let's see how I can avoid. So I'm not going to stop doing the movement because I'm getting a cramp in the arch. What I'm going to do is a different strategy, which is just to go do a bit less and slower, and see if that cramp goes away. And the reason why I was getting a cramp is because I was doing too much of an effort to tilt. It normally happens when I tilt towards the arch, when I lean onto the arch. But now, because I'm doing it with more awareness and a little bit slower, I'm not getting that cramp anymore. Okay, so this is a strategy when you come across cramps or pain, is to not to stop the movement but to do less. So I found it really difficult to lean towards the arch. So see what your experience is. And if I put too much of an effort to tilt towards the arch, I get a cramp. Okay, I get cramp in my arch. So I need to pay attention to that and create less effort as I do this movement. You may come across a different experience, maybe pain somewhere, but you use the same strategy. Do less, slower, with more gentleness. Pay attention to that part of the body that is screaming, which is in this case the arch of my foot. So if I listen to that, that's exactly what I did. If I listen to that, to the cramp, and say like, okay, let's go a little bit slower, let's do a little bit less, then it worked, only because I paid attention to that part of myself that was crying or screaming at me. Okay, and then let go. And rest, just feel your feet. When you rest for as long as you need. I'm not taking big rests here because of the sake of keeping these videos not so long. Okay, now let's go to the left foot and let's do the same thing and let's see how it goes on this foot. Okay, so let's lean towards the outer edge of the left foot. Remember, the knees quiet, and back to the middle, to the center, and do that a few times. So as you lean or tilt towards the outer edge of your foot, then your toes can kind of come towards the arch, and you create this C shape in your foot. And then you let go, and this is what's happening. So remember that the movement is in the ankle, and again there is no much room in the ankle joint to go that way. Okay, so don't expect a big movement. It can't be a big movement. It only be a big movement if you include the leg, but then again you're not doing the movement from the ankle but from the hip joint, and this is not what we want. We want the movement in the ankle joint. And again, you spend a good minute tilting, leaning back to the center. And again, I'm experiencing that cramp in my ankle. In my arch. So let's apply the strategy, doing less, so I don't tilt so much, and that works. So if I don't tilt so much, I don't get the cramp. So I pay attention to that, so I tilt less with less effort. So that's all what I'm doing, is applying less effort so that my arch doesn't scream at me with cramps. Now it's not happening anymore, and I can tilt a little bit more, but I'm not creating an effort. Okay, and after you spend a good minute here, let go. And now let's lean towards the inner side of the foot, towards the arch. Okay, so again, it's not an easy movement, it's not a big movement. Do what you can. So you want to lift the outer edge of the foot so that you lean onto the arch. Again, it's a small, tiny movement. There is no much room there for you to tilt. Okay, and I feel that I can tilt more towards the outer edge than I can towards the inner edge of the foot. Okay, so it's really a tiny movement going on for me here. And see what your experience is. And I find it really challenging to lean onto the arch of the foot. But you do what you can, as I do what I can. So you want to lift the outer edge of the foot so that you lean towards the inside of the foot. onto the arch of the foot. And again, if I create too much of an effort, I'll have a cramp in my arch. So I need to move with less effort so that I don't get that cramp. And you see what you will see what your experience is. And please do share it with me below. Really pay attention to the movement in the ankle. So again, this is not about doing it right or you thinking about, oh, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Just do what you can without thinking too much about it. You know that you're leaning towards your arch and the outer edge of the foot needs to lift. And you know it's only a tiny little movement because there's not much room in the ankle joint to do that movement. Okay, and after you spend a good minute here, then you let go. And then let's do one and that. Let's alternate the movement. Once leaning towards the outer edge of the foot, coming back to the center, and then once towards the inner edge of the foot. Okay, so we're going from one to the other. Okay, alternate the movement. And here you really feel the difference between leaning towards the arch and leaning towards the outer edge. So for me, it's much easier to lean towards the outer edge of the foot than towards the arch. Let me know below what's easier for you. A very simple, looks like a very simple movement, but it's quite challenging. You'll be so rewarded when you do the 3 videos together, the full exercise. And I'd love for you to share that with me below in the comments area. Do share with me what these 3 videos did for you, so that we can inspire other people and give hope to other people. And also create a nice community. Okay, and then let go, lengthen your legs. So this is the end of these 3 videos. Spend a moment here, letting it go and noticing, feeling your ankles, your legs, the pelvis, and noticing how does it feel now to lie on your back. Go through that somatic scan, like in video number 1. And then stand up on your feet and go through that somatic scan again on your feet and notice what feels different for you. Okay, so now I'm going to quickly go through all the movements that we did, so that you might want to memorize them and then do that without having to listen to me or without even watching the videos. Okay, so I'm gonna do quickly, but you're not gonna do this quickly, of course. You know that all this is done slowly and gently with awareness, feeling and sensing, okay? So I'm gonna go through every single movement quickly, so that it may help you to memorize the movements, and then you can do it without my videos. Okay, so what we did was first video was you move the ankle and you start with whatever feet, whichever foot is good for you. Okay, so you're going to keep the front of the foot quiet, glued, and you move the you move the heel to the right, back to the center, right, back to the center, right, back to the center, okay? When you move to the sides, remember to land, okay? And then back to the center, and then you do to the left, left, back to the center, left, back to the center, left, back to the center, okay? Then you do the same with the front of the foot. You pivot in your heel, move the front of the foot to the right, back to the center, to the right, back to the center, and then to the left, back to the center, the left, back to the center, to the left, back to the center, okay? So you spend a good, excuse me, my nose is blocked, so I'm a bit struggling with my breathing. Because I need to breathe through my mouth and I'm speaking at the same time. You spend a good minute, in each movement, going to the right, a minute, going to the left, a minute, and then so on, with the front and the back of the foot, okay? The next movement we did was lift the heel and down, lift and down, again, 1 good minute there. And then what we did was lift the toes separately from the ball of the foot, and then the ball of the foot, land the ball of the foot, and then the toes. So it's toes, ball of the foot, toes. Okay, differentiate that movement of the toes and the ball of the foot. Okay, again, you do that for a good minute. Excuse me. I'm struggling here with my breath. So you do that. Ball, toes, ball, toes. Okay. So next movement was the tap for a good minute. Okay. And then I guess the next movement was lift the heel, bring it down, lift the toes and the ball. Bring down the ball and the toes, heel. Okay, it's the same movement as before, but now we do both at the same time, alternating from one to the other, okay? So front of the foot and then back. Front, back. Front, back, okay? And then you spend a good minute here. And then what we did, we did the tilt, so leaning towards the outer edge of the foot and back to the center. Leaning towards the outer edge of the foot, back to the center. Remember, the leg is quiet, the knee is quiet, so there's no this business going on. The movement is in the ankle, okay? And then we went towards the arch of the foot, okay? So you lean towards the arch, back to the center, lean towards the arch and back to the center, okay? And then you alternate, lean towards the outer edge, back to the center, towards the arch, back to the center, and so on. One and the other, leaning from the arch into the arch, back to the center, leaning to the outer edge, back to the center. Okay, so you want to feel the movement in the ankle joint, okay? So the leg doesn't get, the hip joint doesn't get involved, just the ankle, okay? And that was it. These 3 videos, that's all we did. So you can memorize these movements and then do it by yourself, or what you can do as well. So I did one foot and then the other. But what you can do, so do it the way I did it, go through that experience, but then repeat it again. And I suggest that you do everything in one foot first, okay? And then take a rest and feel the differences between one leg and the other, one foot and the other, one ankle and the other, and feel where else you feel this difference going on, okay? And then you do the whole of the exercise on the other foot, okay? So this is a very good experiment to do for yourself, okay? And that's it. And this will have a huge effect in your ankles, the organization of your ankles, your feet, the knees, the pelvis, okay? So I would love for you to let me know how this went for you, okay? Please do let me know. If you are a little bit shy and you don't want to others to see your comments below for whatever reason, and that's okay, you can send me an email, okay? So all my information is under the video here. If you feel like you can send an email instead of sharing your experience in the community, if that is something that you don't want to do, and that's okay. We are all different. So thank you so much for taking the time to take care of yourself and taking the time to come and lie on the floor and do these magical Feldenkrais exercises. And if you liked this video, give me the thumbs up, and if you like my work, share it around, talk to people, so that we can reach out to millions of people and help heal the planet with these Feldenkrais exercises. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at a next video. Bye bye now.